Prophecy's a 1979 horror film from director John Frankenheimer. The movie begins with a search party in the woods. The bloodhounds see the chuck wagon and they take off running. A few of the guys go over the cliff, but something down there kills them. The last guy goes down, and since he's meeting the same fate, he screams just like the other guy. We then cut to a recording of the score already in progress. After the performance, Maggie and her friend are having a conversation.
The world's in such a mess, it's unfair to bring a child into it. That there are 3 million unwanted children.
And this lady is responsible for a bunch of them. Maggie's husband doesn't want kids, so she's trying to figure out a way to tell him that she's pregnant. Rocky is gonna be pissed. Over in the slums, we're introduced to Robert Verne, ghetto doctor. A woman's upset because rats have been biting her baby. He sends the baby to the hospital and runs into Nick from the EPA. They want to send Rob to investigate a lumber company in Maine and file a report. Rob and Maggie fly up to the camp.
Lighthouses rule. You don't like the lighthouse, you suck.
Their plane lands and someone's airdropping in a dog. They meet up with Mr. Isley, the head of the lumber company. He's there to prove that what his company's doing isn't harming the environment. He explains there's a group of Indians that are trying to scare everyone out of the woods.
People started disappearing, and the Indians spread the word that they were taken by Katahdin. That's one of their legends. They call it Katahdin.
I think that's Kitardid. Kitardin's this giant bear monster that kills anyone who invades her woods.
They're almost as superstitious as the Opis.
Yeah, Opis.
Opis, original people. Yeah, that's what they call themselves now.
The Opis? Mr. Isley takes Rob and Maggie to the cabin where they're going to be staying. While on their way there, whoa, Ted, the hell are you doing with the camera? They reach a part in the road that's blocked by Hawks and his tribe.
What does this guy think he's an Indian? What is he, a goddamn asshole? What the fuck is he doing?
Hawks refuses to move, so there's only one solution. Axe chainsaw fight. Hawks gets knocked down, so they unlock the chain.
These are violent people, Mr. Verne. They get drunk and they get violent.
Yes, because you handled this in a much more compassionate way. I hope the tribe can't smell what I did in my pants. I'm all for enjoying the wilderness, but don't they have a cabin a little bit closer to town? They have to ride in 20 miles by truck past the angry Indian tribe and then take a boat across the lake to their cabin. I don't think Domino's delivers out here. Rob's spending the afternoon fishing. The hell did this duck eat? All the animals in the woods are upset because Kitardin has sleep apnea. Later that night, Rob hears a knock at the door. Oh, hello, Mr. Raccoon, and oh my god, why are you doing this? The raccoon attacks Rob, so he throws him into the fire. After such a tragic scene, we need an awkward cutaway to something ridiculous. Hawks has a conversation with Rob, explaining their side of the story. Rob and Maggie go with Hawks to meet the tribe elder, Marai. He shows them why they call this place the Garden of Eden.
It's a tadpole.
I told you things grow big here.
Rob figures out that the paper mill's been dumping chemicals from the plant into the water, which is mutating the animals and making people sick. This makes me want to go to a water park. He confronts Mr. Isley, who swears none of the chemicals go into the water. Rob discovers that the trees have been treated with mercury, which is causing all the problems. Maggie's upset because they've been eating a lot of fish out there, and the mercury causes birth defects. Out in the woods, Kitardin finds a family camping. I don't think this is supposed to be funny, but it's hilarious. The next day, Rob's taking blood samples from the Indians. Mr. Isley and the police show up to arrest Hawks for murdering the campers. He takes off. Ramona takes Rob and Maggie up to where the campers were killed. Conveniently, Hawks is there too. He outran a helicopter? Maggie finds a baby koala, fish, mutant bird. Rob rescues it so they have evidence of what the plant's doing to the wildlife. They head to the Indian camp for shelter. Maggie finally tells Rob she's pregnant. She's worried that since she ate the mercury, she's going to give birth to a mutant. Well, maybe it'll be a cool mutant, like one of the X-Men. Rob shows the baby Catardin to Mr. Isley and the sheriff. Mama Catardin shows up and goes on a killing spree. Oh my god, it's Man-Bear Pig. She knocks this guy right into the wire that was pulling him backwards. The group escapes into the tunnels beneath the teepees to wait for the monster to leave. The sheriff goes to have a look, but... Aha, fooled you. Mariah's watching as Catardin's destroying the village. So not only is pollution ruining the forest, but a mutant bear as well. They should have put that in with those PSAs from the 80s.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it.
Mr. Isley, now seeing the error of his ways, goes to a radio tower to call for help while the rest of the group heads to the other village. Isley makes it to the radio, but guess who's waiting for him? The group finds a vehicle they can drive to safety.
Hey, listen, 3/4 of a mile from here where they cut the trees. They left the carrier. Carrier? It's like a tank.
I think calling it a tank is a bit of a stretch. On the way out of the woods, they run into, oh, that Catardin. She knocks a truck over and the baby bites Maggie in the neck. Chasing these guys all over the mountain sure makes her hungry. They swim out into the water to get away. The baby is really biting the hell out of Maggie. I'm almost positive Catardin's chasing them because they have her baby. Why not cut your losses and give it back to her? Nah, let's drown it. So, you still want kids after this? Mariah stays behind to confront the beast, and it goes about how you would expect. They make it to the other side of the lake, and it seems Catardin can't swim. It can apparently hold its breath for extended periods of time, though. Maybe now would be a good time to get inside? They barricade themselves inside the cabin, but Catardin just busts in through the roof. She is quite stealthy for a 20-foot bear. Hawk shoots Catardin Turok style, but she kills him. She grabs Rob, who stabs her furiously with an arrow. She falls back into the water, and Rob goes all kung fu action hero on her. Rob and Maggie catch the next plane out of there. As they pass over the woods, crap, there's another one. The movie was filmed in British Columbia, Canada, for about $12 million. This was one of the first big movies to film there, and it's often attributed to starting the trend of tons of American movies and TV being shot there. On the poster, the monster is supposed to represent a mutation that's taking place in the womb. The original concept art for Catardin looked more like an adult version of this, but the director had them change it to look more bear-like. Director John Frankenheimer, who was mostly known for action like The Train and thrillers like The Manchurian Candidate, wanted to try his hand at horror with Prophecy. Prior to this, he did The French Connection 2. After The French Connection 2 underperformed, he developed a serious drinking problem and called Prophecy a film that was made below his standards. He was dealing with his alcoholism at the time, and unfortunately the movie didn't turn out as well as he had hoped. Although horror novelist Stephen King admits to being a fan of the movie. Armand Assantes played Hawks. He has a very distinct look and was really believable as the brooding Indian. He was much more controlled here and not the scenery-chewing Rico we saw in Judge Dredd. The giant 6'9" Kevin Peter Hall, who was best known for being the Predator and Harry from Harry and the Hendersons, was the one wearing the Catardin bear suit. The movie was originally written by David Seltzer, who was best known for writing the original The Omen. He came up with the idea for the film after reading about the real-world disaster in the Japanese city of Minamata, where the waste from a local chemical plant was being dumped into the river and causing all kinds of health problems for the locals. Special effects-wise, I think Catardin looked good, although it probably would have worked more in their favor if they went the Jaws approach and didn't really show him until the end. While the movie didn't live up to the director's expectations, it still turned out to be a good movie in its own way. There were some additional scenes of gore that Frankenheimer removed because he felt they were too gratuitous. Funny to think that a movie about a giant toxic mutant bear monster would be worried about not coming off as gratuitous. It's in my raccoon wounds.